Welcome to the great work of your life, produced by Revealing Genius. Our guest today is a physician entrepreneur, a retinal surgeon, stem cell transplant biologist with a doctorate in clinical ophthalmology. He's built teams to lead pharmacology, drug delivery innovation for glaucoma and retinal diseases for GlaxoSmithKline, Innotek, Zacampo, and Astellas. She was the chief medical officer for Beta Stem Therapeutics and an executive consultant for Lambda Vision and Lineage Cell Therapeutics. She's led data-driven clinical investigations on diabetic retinopathy and age-related macular degeneration. And in response to the COVID-19 deployment, he led the US-UK Strategic Task Force, working very closely with Novartis, Sandoz, Sanofi, the FDA, UK leaders to reduce deaths by a third. She's a naturalized citizen of the United States, and she speaks Chinese and English. And she's currently the president and chief scientific medical officer of the aptly named Glaucomic Therapeutic Innovation, a company committed to developing breakthrough and transformative medicine for curing glaucoma blindness, which is what we're going to talk about today. She holds several patents for treating retinal diseases and conditions. She's received Who's Who and Lifetime Achievement Awards for excellence in ophthalmology. And in her free time, she serves as a mentor for the Association for Women in Science. But before we dive into the questions, I wanted to share with you what she's really excited about. She's leading the patented drug called Trabodenoson, currently at the phase 3 stage. She's actively seeking investment to develop slow-release eye drops, to run one pivotal trial, and to get to market 4 to 5 years. And the way she's explained it to me is that current pharma therapies for glaucoma address the symptoms, but not the actual root cause. So Trabo, and as in Trabodenoson, is a new modality that will achieve global neuroprotection. And she calls it the holy grail we've all been looking for. Just as a sidebar, the impact could be huge. I did a little homework. Right now, 30% are legally blind among 120 million patients. It's a $6 billion market with no competition. And Trabo is a hidden jewel that offers the first cure and the most effective neuroprotection, with a potential to eradicate glaucoma blindness. It could literally improve the eyesight of millions of people. So I think you can share how effusive I am to welcome Dr. Tina Guanting Qui. Hello, how are you?
Very well.
Thank you so much for carving out the time. We're so excited to hear more of the answers to our 14 questions. We'd like to hear a little bit more about Trabo along the way, if that would be okay.
Yes, please.
Wonderful. All right, we're going to start with the first two questions. They go together. Question 1 and 2 is, Dr. Qui, what gives you energy and what drains your energy?
What do you define as energy? When you are a child, I always see my neighbor playing at my backyard. They have endless energy. They don't need someone give them energy. When you are at your golden age in the campus, you don't have responsibilities. You don't need anyone give you energy. You have endless energy to pursue what you want, what you love, your dream, your passion, everything. But when you grow older, wiser, you begin to think, you begin to take responsibilities, the responsibility to the society, the responsibility to the people you love and care about. So you have to prioritize your energy to max out the time you spend to work on that. Really drain your energy is those things you don't like to do. You're being forced to do, you hate to do. Someone will always say, if you love what you do, you don't feel you are working. I spent 10 years trying to figure out the biggest problems of drug failure in medicine development in industry. Every morning I always get up, I have full of energy to think, to have questions, the milestone, have curiosity to find out the things. What's the next question? You always have those energy. That's energy to drive me to today to the discovery of the Holy Grail, which we will talk about more.
Yes, I can't wait. Can't wait to hear about it. And actually, the next two questions are apropos. They go together. What do you love the most about your work? And what do you like least?
I'm a problem solver. I always love solving problems. I take a great pride and pleasure to be able to solve problems that my peers and the superiors may fall short. And in the first, I mentioned that the drug development failed at 90%. One of the, first thing when I joined Glaxo many years ago, my boss was telling me 90% of drug will fail at, 10 years, it would take 10 years and it cost billions. I was not able to just comprehend because all my work from academic as postdoc in the PhD, study, all my experiments are always successful. Never had a 90% of failure. So I couldn't understand what exactly happened. And after I came back from UK 2010, I decided to do a research, read the entire biomedical research field, read almost everything, Science, Nature, magazine, the things. It's not a random reading. Every time I read, I always have questions. Einstein used to say, first you have to learn how to define your questions. The 90% effort to define your question, only spend 5% of the time, then you solve it. So defining the most important question in drug development, I call it nail down the rate limit root cause, like, Trabodenoson as a holy grail. It's not just a drug, actually, it's a platform therapy. I nail down the rate limit root cause of vision loss in glaucoma. That is the IOP, irregularity. It's not anything in the back of the eye. Most people think they spend decades, billions of dollars to do the drug hunt, finding the golden boy, the cure for treating glaucoma blindness, because the clinical feature, the hallmark of glaucoma is the ganglion cell loss. The problem is in the retina. That's misled people think. This, all the effort was dumped into the drug discovery, all the risk factors in the back of the eye. And if you are coming out of the woods, seeing the whole forest, if you are able to see the elephant, not just grab the ears, everyone grab the ears. They did excellent research, in-depth research of all the different risk factors. I would say, it's millions of the stars in the sky, but I find who is the moon, what is the sun, the moon, who can, really is the driving force, a dominant driving force. That's actually still in the front of the eye. IOP, the pressure caused that. So I think, a lot of the problem solving is really focused to what exactly the biggest problem is, like a movie or a play. Who is the leading actor, leading lady, or leading actor, the gentleman? So without the leading lady, you don't have a show to be able to develop something no one has done it before. So I think that's what I love about solving problems.
What I love about having conversations with you, Dr. Chu, is I love your analogies to the elephant, your analogies to the theater. And thank you for mentioning Albert Einstein, by the way. In his autobiography, he mentions that he came upon the theory of relativity, and this was something that had never been discovered before. And the way he came upon that was when he was playing the violin. So it leads us to our next question, which is, so if I had 5 minutes with you and I could ask you just one question, it would be this. How do you define success?
Happiness.
Do tell. Share.
Well, happiness is not defined by money. I know now, when I grew up in China in a very different environment, my ex-husband was in the money market, person that side, finance things. I had more than what I need. I always, feel like, he was overspoiled me. It was not what I wanted. I wanted something different. If I am able to achieve, I always say I want to make my fortune, the wealth, use my own hands, my brain, my own, not from others. I don't take, money from strangers. Even I'm looking for investor, I'm always very careful of whom I should talk to, And the happiness is really, if you are able to create things yourself, that's give you the biggest joy. I was talking to another CMO person. He was making a lot of money because of his ophthalmology and the working industry. I should be able to make very good money, but I feel like if I'm able to build, cultivate this small plant, startup, grow it, and bring this drug to market, is $1 billion, $6 billion market. There's no competitor. This is the only drug that can, deliver MMP therapy, the platform Holy Grail, without a clinical side effect. The one I discovered from, elegant stage, drugs and the laser, mentioned about earlier, they all have a side effect, and they only normally is a one-time treatment and it has a limited. They can't treat the later stage, has inflammatory conditions. This drug is anti-inflammatory. So this is a huge, the impact I think will be bigger than Lucentis for wet AMD, because you are able to start to intervene disease much earlier. Not only they can treat the non-responder in the later stage, but also started very early on. If a patient was diagnosed at early stage, you only need one bottle at a time. You can keep them just at the stage. It's like they can fully stop. There's the only drug that can fully stop. So if we are able to get this, product to market, we know for sure it's going to be successful. I said 90% will fail. The Holy Grail for this one is going to be success. We already have evidence. I call it the NDA stage, referring to the MMP therapy delivered by different drugs, but is that when we run our study will be validation, not exploratory. Exploratory is you don't know the result. Validation study is where it's heading to. The result will be better than what we see in the from the current evidence.
Gosh, Dr. Chiu, I feel like you're so close, like you're on the verge. It's so exciting to talk with you right now. And when you think about your journey, like you're almost there, like you're just about there. You're on. It's over the horizon. We know that. If you had to do it all over again, if you look back on your Trabodenoson journey, is there anything that you would do different? What would that look like?
Well, I wish 2008, when I moved to England, I felt like I was crying, holding my boarding ticket. The airplane was crying whether or not I should get on that last train. My friend said you should go, but I wish I had not, go stay there with the company and develop this drug. It's going to be $1 billion, a large, $1 billion enterprise. And if I wish to do it again for other things, if not for travel, I would like to be in the team. Team is magnify your knowledge and expertise. You learn from each other. Has a brainstorm, not just a mindstorm moment. Every time when you talk to someone, you will glean your, people. I remember Steve Jobs did discover the Apple or whatever his stuff is from the rice cooker. They're talking to anyone they could, spark those, creativity. I think this is very important. I had a great, experience with leading GSK, team on drug discovery delivery for AMD, and leading the global team of Astellas gene therapy for a very short time. But I know with the team you are contribute a lot, and in Anotech, my boss will say, do the quiz. I write it terribly. Every week I have 2 hours or 3 hours educational time to tell them X, Y, and Z about ophthalmology. The vast knowledge, they love it. And, regulatory people, commercial people, and, drug discovery, chemists, everyone benefit, clinical, everyone. So you just feel you learn as well.
Let's talk about your superpowers. It's be interesting to hear it from your point of view, because you're an ophthalmologist, you're a scientist, you're an entrepreneur, you're an innovator. If we interviewed your team, folks would probably be all across the board in terms of what is your superpower. If we asked you, Dr. Chiu, where have you spent 10,000 hours honing your superpower? What would you say?
I don't think I have a superpower. I think the honesty and openness and energy is a superpower, actually. If you call it a superpower, I remember Winston Churchill has such a great energy. He can multi-talented to do every great leader. If you look in the history, they always have endless energy. That's the superpower. You have the vision, confidence. I think attributed to my grandmama when I was very little. I was the whole world of her, center of everything. She gives me the greatest confidence, even though I was wrong sometimes. She will use a very subtle way to tell. They don't never criticize harshly, but they will make you well. You are wrong, but they always boost your confidence. I was Mark Cote, my coach, introduced me Brian Tracy's skill. I was study that. They talk about that the childhood is so important to be, how that influence your future, your career, your character. It's not how much you know, it's your character that is the ceiling of your career. I think the character is the leadership essential. I know when I was at Glaxo, my office mates were two people. He said, do you want to be a captain or soldier? I said, I want to be a captain. So I like to lead, but I know I can automatically become a leader. You can lead. It's just, I love James Bond. He said, the first time you get it right, if you have enough training, a good training, master basic skill, everything is a basic skill. I trained by some of the best surgeons. Dr. Diwan in West Coast and in China was a top surgeon. I learned from the basic skill, how to cut, how to move, how to maneuver. Once you have a chance, they said, I can do 101. Today I learned, tomorrow I can teach. That's if you have mastered this basic skill proficiently, really good. You look at all the James Bond 007 movie, which it's not his as a spy, it's his intelligence, how master skill, the basic training, and then when the things happen, when emergency, he needs to conduct or anything, he can just get it right. Even he doesn't know anything, what's the hazards or what the risk. That's exactly in business. You will give a task, chart the territory. I love to challenge the convention, do things no one has to it before. I have the vision to see it in the future. So you have all this, spend years, learning, have all the building blocks. Steve Jobs always say, if you have enough knowledge, have enough, skill things, the building block, you will have a non-linear solution to solve your problems rather than linear straight. So if A doesn't work, you have B doesn't work, you have C. You need to have enough knowledge. The experience I learned from, as a physician, seeing patient, managing glaucoma. I was telling people, I put my fingers on patient eyeball. I was able to tell if the pressure is 16 or 18 exactly when they put the apparatus to measure it. Exactly was because you have touched a lot, the experience, you can imagine sheer volume of experience.
That's amazing. And the James Bond analogy is one I think we can all relate to in terms of mastery. We know him as he's a master of skills. And it's actually a great segue into the next question because you clearly mastered, you're at the highest level, the apogee of your career. Is there anything you wish you were better at?
A negotiation, actually. I think it was perhaps people will say, it looks very tough. When I work, I remember in the GSK, he says, Tina is coming. When they hear my high heels on the hallway, they know it's like military training. They have to act now. They're nervous. I think, you give people, you are very strong, but I'm really terrible with negotiation, business negotiation, salary negotiation, or anything related to the money. I'm terrible. So I wish I can be better. As now I'm building a company. I bring people on board. Last week I was talking to someone. I said, I'm collecting the information. I'm going to, ask around before I can get it back to you. I'm not good at negotiation. If I negotiate, always it will be failed. I'm the worst one. So I wish I can be a bit better. And so that's in the business side. There are many other, at work, at home. I'm not good at cooking and I'm not good at sports. I wish I could be better. I love to be active, but it was not a body as that athletic type.
No worries. Thank you for sharing that. It's great that you've owned the fact that you are a captain. I have a feeling that your grandmama kind of recognized that in you as well. So we're going to take a page from Oprah's magazine, and she asks a question at the end of her magazine every single time. And the question is, What do you know about yourself to be absolutely true?
Absolutely true. I think that the truth or false oftentimes is defined by the time, by whom you are referring. It's always have a reference of. But I know I'm true to my heart, and I'm honest to people, and a trustworthy advisor. If anyone want a real advice, is this going to work, and how this drug work? I will tell them exactly what I think. You have to be true to yourself first, then you can be trusted by others.
Well said. And we have two more questions and then a bonus question. Gosh, it's great to have you all to myself. We need your advice on these next two questions, if we may. The next question is, what's a book that inspired you to behave or think differently?
Oh, I love to read biography, all sorts of biography, especially the leaders, the global leaders, the Winston Churchill's one. You gain so much insight and the courage and the mindset, how he works, how he thinks, how he, grow his confidence. It's just very inspirational. I read, John Kerry's, brief bio. Grown up as such a privilege family, went to Vietnam War. What a remarkable courage, I read Cameron's For the Record. I think he's a great man and a decent, prime minister. I read a lot, Ronald Reagan's story, Bush's story, some of them just, you can see the vision, how they evolve. And those are also successful business person. I read Steve Jobs' biography. I has a great admiration of his ex-wife. He's just connecting the dots, think differently, challenging the convention. Those that give you a lot of, it's American culture, sort of, in Asian culture is more of obedience. You follow, especially women, you don't have a lot of voice. You are sort of more of the subsidiary of your husband, in the family. That's a long history, of course, but now it's different. Even in my generation, women are very independent. We do what I want to do, no one can stop me. And I think but I think in American culture allows you to be able to dream and do things differently, challenging. There are always people who recognize that will give you a push when you're about to fall. You feel they can capture you before you fail. Everything in the universe are connected. There's, Charles, now it's King Charles, when I read his book called Harmony, is Prince Charles Wales. Harmony, he's, using environmental, the nature, ecosystem, human life and all the nature, plant or animals, anything is all part of how integrate, is not separate. It has actually comes to how I made the discovery of Trabodenoson. I used to be lecturer at my church. They loved my readings. I always love people who can read well. I used to read at school to do the readings. I wrote poetry as well. So language is the human. It help you. It's a human society science. It's a human science. Very different. I think it's very important to master language.
You're clearly well-read, very well-read, which is impressive. And what we're hoping, we're just planting the seed here for you, Dr. Chu. We're hoping that you might write a book one day about your journey, your Trabodenoson journey, and what you learned along the way. Which leads us to our last question before we pause and end with a bonus question. So do you have a favorite motto or a quote that you live by, and why?
Well, I mentioned about the two, things I always applied it every day. Everything in the universe are connected. That's from reading Prince Charles' Harmony. Noted all my inventions and even just the philosophy and the strategy of seeing the whole picture. This is the knowledge is not enough. You must apply. The knowledge is not enough. You must apply. So that's part of the reason I gave up my career as a physician, because I have a PhD. I wanted to use my PhD in industry and the MD in industry, in GSK, Patrick Valens can call us, and some of the leaders said we are the rare breed, have MD and a PhD. In industry, there are not many, only maybe 10%. There's a lot of PhDs, a lot of MD in the academic, there's a lot of PhD in pharma, but combo allows you to connect the neuron firing.
We are super excited to support you on your journey. You're here almost in the last mile with Trabodenoson, and we're excited to support you. I'm going to pause here for just a moment. Is there anything else you would like to add about this journey before we end with one final question?
The journey, I think, is a winded journey. We have a lot of setbacks I have to, having to talk about, but I think it's your belief, your molarity is, I think the integrity, molarity embedded in your blood, in your bones. So so people will help you, even it's at the darkest hour. People they believe in you. I think that's important. That's something you have to build. You have to earn those credits, not someone say it with powers and things. I always believe you have to earn it. Anything you have to earn it. That's what I take pleasure and the happiness of. You earn your credit. You earn your your knowledge and wisdom, but you have to. You need to have that character to earn people's trust and integrity, honesty. This is and discipline. This is the secret sauce and the essentials for everything. Almost is even far more important than your intelligence. That will give you a win. With those. I have worked with some great leaders in China. They say you have to learn how to deal with people before you learn how to do things, to execute your project. You need to have those relations and trust first before you are able to really implement your ideas and your plans and whatever it is. So the Trabodenoson journey, the moment, I think we are building a momentum. We find two patterns that will separate, from everything else, defines this, as the first neuroprotection drug for glaucoma without side effect, can deliver the platform therapy in a lifetime, can repeat. The Elegance product is a one-time treatment because of the side effect. So we want to have two formulations, a slow release that will get, patient, I call it loading dose. You can visit once a year or once every 2 years. They could last very long. When the repairs, restore the pressure sensor. I think I see the future. I'm excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Tina Guan Chu, you heard it here. Oh, we hope that you will honor us with your presence again when the drug gets to market. We're very excited for you and want to do everything we can to support you.
Thank you so very much, Mary, for the wonderful opportunity. And I look forward to the future for another conversation for update. Thank you.
Wonderful. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have her back. Thanks so much, Dr. Chu.